Hi! Don't let the name of this stamp set fool you. It's the Stampin' Up! Christmas Season stamp set. I'm going to use it along with the coordinating seasonal labels dies to make a handmade winter card. Being from northern Michigan, I'm naturally drawn to the pine cones of the Christmas Season stamp set. And it's a distinctive stamp set, my favorite style of stamps. I'll explain. I'm Shelley Godby, the owner and CEO of Stamping Smiles, and for 20 years, I've been teaching others how to create their own hand stamped smiles. So at the end, I'm going to show you another card base color that I thought I was going to use, and then you can tell me which one you prefer. Here's a closer view of the Christmas Season stamp set and coordinating seasonal labels dies. So many dies, it takes 2 sheets to hold them all. So you have dies for the stamped images and then 6 label dies. Look at all of these, and we'll be using 2 of those today. And when you order the 2 of these together using the special bundle item number I've listed right here, you'll save 10% on both. But this is important. Only through January 3rd, 2022. After that, they both will be available, but separately. So you'll want to order those right away in my online store and get that bundle discount because that savings really adds up. And the Christmas Season stamp set I was telling you is a distinctive stamp set. Well, distinctive is Stampin' Up's patent pending process to produce rubber stamps that give you amazing detail, shading, and depth. It's remarkable. With one stamp, you get all of that amazing detail. All right, so we're going to start with the die cutting. I'm going to do all my stamping afterwards. So we're going to do die cutting and embossing. So I need to grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I've got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we're going to start with the embossing. And we're going to be using the time-worn type 3D embossing folder from the July through December 2021 Stampin' Up! Mini Catalog. But good news, this is going to be available after the catalog retires on January 3rd, so you'll still be able to pick that up. It's a great embossing folder. So next we need to build what's called a sandwich, and to get to the appropriate thickness for the embossing folder. And so we'll start with plate number 1. Because it's a 3D embossing folder, no bottom cutting plate. All right, so next what we have is our cardstock, and I have basic white cardstock. And if you desire, if you'll go ahead and mist your cardstock before you emboss it, either with water or I prefer rubbing alcohol, specifically 91%, because it dries so quickly. And that's in my Stampin' Spritzer. Whoa, there we go. Spritz that. Slip it into our embossing folder, and because there is print, I want that nice and straight in there. All right, and that's not straight. Let me move that. There we go. So we'll place it on here, and then this is important. If you're using a 3D embossing folder, a regular cutting pad or number 3 is not quite thick enough. You need the specialty plate. So when you order a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, you get the specialty plate with it. If you're using a Big Shot, which has the same size plates, you can order this separately, and you'll need that for the 3D embossing folders. So let me pull this out. I want to place it on top. Now it's the appropriate thickness. There we go. I just love how smooth the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is. It just every time amazes me. All right, so let's take this out, and this is going to be a nice subtle background for my handmade winter card. Isn't that nice? All right, so now we're going to die cut with the thin metal dies, and for that I need plate number 2. And all of these I'm showing you come with a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So we need a plate number 2. And then a plate number 3. It hasn't been cut on yet, so it's all shiny. It doesn't take long before that changes. And then I have some more basic white cardstock. Now this we're going to use as a template because I'm going to stamp afterwards. I'm going to show you how I'm going to make my life a lot easier for stamping my greeting. And I have this label die. So we'll put that in the center. And I still have room on there. And look what I have here. This is stamping masking paper. because I'm going to be doing some masking. And so I had a couple choices. I could cut it out of scrap paper from the printer, but I use 24 pound, and so it's thicker. And for masking, thinner is better. And so this is the part we'll peel off. And so actually when I first did it, because while I was designing, I stamped on the paper and got out my paper snips and trimmed around it carefully. Then I thought, wait a minute, can't I just use the die? Hello. So we'll die cut this and I'll have a mask, and I'll show you that technique if you're not familiar with it as I demonstrate my handmade winter card. And then we need another plate number 3. And I like to keep using the same plate on top. It doesn't warp on me. I love that, so I'm all set. All right, so we'll place that on there and then just crank it through. Fantastic. So we've got that. So we're going to use this, but we're going to use this over and over and over as our template, and I'll show you. It works out really well. And now, so quickly and easily, I have the perfect mask die cut because it was designed to fit around the stamp. All right, so then just one more. We've got some more basic white cardstock here, and now another of the label dies. Actually, this largest one. And I'll have a link to my blog post with all the measurements for this card so you can make it too. It'd be easy for you to copy. And so the same sandwich, all right, finishing with, so just doing the same thing. So that gives us all of our die cutting and our embossing. So next I'm going to show you how I'm going to use that template for my greeting. It's going to make life so easy as I do that over and over and over. The template we just die cut, I'm going to use that in my Stamparatus for perfect placement every time for my greeting. And my greeting, well, it's from the Retiring Well-Defined stamp set. So this could sell out any time. So if you love it like I do, make sure you get on over to my online store to pick it up. We're going to use winter for my handmade winter card when it's cold outside, but thoughts of you still keep me warm. And so we've got sentimental like that, as well as for the Christmas one, the time of year where the presence of family is better than presents from family. And then I just love the funny. Halloween, when taking candy from strangers is good and dressing normally is strange. And holiday, a reason to eat more. Oh yeah, that's true. All right, so typically when you have a red rubber stamp like this from the Well-Defined, you just use it right on here. I like going up in the corner because it makes my placement easy. And in the corner, it gives a little bit extra lift. If I'll go ahead and use the foam mat, and I'm using the deluxe foam mat because it still has the grid on there, just really like that. And that's available for purchase separately from the Stamparatus. So then we take our template that is right here. I'm like, where did it go? And see, I know just right in the corner, that's where I designed it. And then I'm going to use one of the super strong magnets that come with it. 2 of them come with it. Do not let them get close to each other, they break. And if you do, well then you'll have 4. And then I'm going to slip in, this is the piece that we cut out, and just place that right in there. And then for my greeting, I'm going to use the soft suede classic Stampin' Pad. So I'm going to pick this up, there's a little, and then slide that in. And then come over here and ink. And not only do you get that perfect placement, if you don't stamp well the first time, it can't help but go back exactly where you had it. So then I just close this and press everywhere. All right. And this is just a lot quicker than me stamping and then die cutting, trying to get it centered around there. All right, so I wish it was just a little bit deeper in the center. Everything else looks good, so let's just add a little bit more ink there. All right, and see, that's fabulous. If you don't have a Stamparatus, you really need it. I don't use it for all of my stamping, but when I do, I am so thrilled to have it. And by only having one magnet, it's just really easy for me to slide that out. It held well in place. So now our greeting is all done. And now for those beautiful pine cones. So now we're ready for those pine cones, and I'm going to be stamping off the edge of my label. So I'm going to slip a piece of scrap paper underneath me, and we're going to start with crumb cake, classic Stampin' Pad. So there's a little lip here. We're going to pick that up, slide that in, and here we go. And so typically I like to start with the darkest color, the detail, because it's easier to see through a light color. But for this, it's working out really well for me to start with the lightest color. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and ink this up on here. Like I said, I'm going off the edge, so right about there. Press everywhere, and and here's a tip. Whenever I'm doing, and we're going to be doing what's called two-step stamping because it takes at least 2 steps to finish the image. If I'm using all different colors, I like to leave the stamp on the stamp pad in the right color because I get going and I'll hit the wrong color. So maybe that'll help you too. And so for the detail, we're using the soft suede. So pick that up, slide it in, and here's that detail. And it'll come in here, and because we can see through it, stamp, and isn't that awesome? Love it. And so what I want to do next is use some of the pine bough, but I want it behind. See, if I stamp like that, it'll be over top. That won't look very lovely. So this technique is called masking, and the thinner the paper, better. So you don't ever want to use cardstock because you've got an edge to get around, right? The thickness of it. And so that's where I like this masking paper because it's even thinner than my 24-pound paper. And this is die cut to the image. We just need to get it on there. Let's start down here. There we go. Get that to the edge. There we go. And I'm going to use Evening Evergreen. Perfect for pine, isn't it? From the 2021-2023 in colors. So pick that up, slide that in. Here we go. And so we're going to stamp. And so it's going over top, but this part is so cool. When you peel away your mask and it's behind it. Isn't that awesome? So we're going to do that. Let's leave this on here. Only because I've done that a couple times. And so as I was making this, I did try doing all of the pine cones, this part, but without the pine bough there, I found I wasn't getting the placement as well as I like. So I just did it all, all 3 steps before moving on. And oh my gosh, I just think that is so fabulous. And our mask again. Here we go. It's most important down here because that's where the pine will be. Come back with this. And we can only see it on the one side. So, and this is one of those things that just never fails to please. Oh my goodness. It just like, oh. All right, and so one more time with our crumb cake. So we're creating a background, a beautiful background for our winter greeting. Yeah, go over here and fill in. Look at that. So you might think at first, oh, I didn't ink that well. No, you did. That's that shading I was telling you about. Just remarkable. How they can do that on a stamp, I just find fascinating. And oh my goodness. All right. And so when you're done, I pull on that lip and then listen for that click. You want to make sure that that is closed. And like I said, we'll pay very close attention to the bottom. Come back one more time with this. See, now I can see where I'm going. If I hadn't done that, I might have gone over too far over there. It's just easier. And then let's come over here. It won't be very much, but we don't want that white space just sitting there where it should have been. And peel that away. Isn't this gorgeous? Okay. And so then I took couldn't decide which color. I thought, do I do the green or the brown? And that was a tough choice, but I thought, oh, I wanted the green to be this beautiful accent. So what I'm going to do is use my favorite adhesive. I'll tease that this is an accessory, but it is my favorite adhesive because it's just magical what these foam adhesive dots do. Instead of just laying something flat, giving it a little bit of height, what that does. So take your thumbnail and you press down and look. It just makes that edge pop up and easy to get off. You don't always need to do that, but if you're struggling, remember that tip. And here we go, right here in the center. These labels work together beautifully. All right, so now here's the part. I was just certain as all get out that I would use the Evening Evergreen for my card base. And I liked it, but I thought, it felt like, to me, now as I'm looking at this, I'm kind of changing my mind a little bit, but I thought, that's not doing what I wanted. I just felt like this was taking all the attention when I had all these beautiful pine cones. And so I changed my mind, like I said, and instead put it on the basic white base and the basic white. So both. So here, I had done the Evening Evergreen for the base and for the embossing, and then I switched it out. And then I thought, well, it looks like snow, and this just really stands out. And I attached this. I got excited to show you the base with mini glue dots because it has an awful lot of texture, and the mini glue dots are just super strong to hold the embossed cardstock to the base of the card. And so, you're going to have to let me know which you prefer. Hey, you know what? We can do this. And I put this on with dimensionals too, so let me do that because it's not fair laying flat to compare them. So let's do that. And you'll have to tell me because now I'm getting more torn, but I've decided this is it. And I still really like it. Isn't it funny though, you're stamping along and you're certain something's going to go one way. And it's like, All right, so here we go. But it was the snow, the part of the being white, that I just went, okay. So you'll have to tell me which one you prefer of these two. Leave a comment below the video. The white snowy card. Or the nice deep Evening Evergreen card base. If you'd like to make my handmade winter card with the Christmas season stamp set, all the supplies are listed below the video and available to order now in my online store, www.shopwithshelly.com. And when you place your December 2021 Stampin' Up! Order of $50 or more with me, I'm going to send you one of my handmade winter cards. And remember, the well-defined stamp set is retiring. It could sell out any minute. So go get that great stamp set in my online store, www.shopwithshelly.com. I'm Shelly Godby, teaching you how to create hand stamped smiles. Thanks for watching.